I'm not sure exactly when the disclosure was. I just know that for sure it happened. It had to have been sometime between November the 1st of 2019 to December the 12th of 2019. Sometime right around in that time frame, I'm assuming. What had happened was back in September, I got pulled over, and they were trying to charge me with an OVI, and I had submitted to the BAC test, and I determined that I wasn't under the influence of anything. So the judge dropped the case. He dropped my case. Well, that was on October the 31st, 2019. 2 weeks later, after that, well, it was a little bit longer than that, I'm sorry, December the 12th of 2019, I got a phone call from my attorney stating that I was being indicted again on this OVI charge, same one that just got dismissed. And I was asking him why, for what reason. I thought I determined, that I was not under the influence. And he said, well, I'm not really sure what's going on. He said, come into my office and then we'll talk. So me and my driver that day and my attorney was sitting in his office, and he put the assistant DA on speakerphone. And when he put him on speakerphone, he asked him what the reason was for my indictment. And he stated, I have obtained her pharmacy records. And my attorney said, you did what? And he said, I have obtained her pharmacy records. And he said, what authorization did you have to obtain her pharmacy records? And he said, none, I didn't need any. So the conversation went on, but basically that was about it of it. Well, I assumed I didn't know, because I never heard anything back from my attorney after that day. That day was on December the 23rd. That was the day that we went in his office of 2019. So I never heard anything back from him. After New Year's and Christmas, I repeatedly called his office, and I sent him texts, I sent him emails, and he wasn't answering me. This went on clear till March. And I never heard a word from him. So I took it upon myself, and I went to the courthouse, and I requested to see my records. Well, when I did that, I found out exactly what was going on. My indictment said alprazolam. It listed the name of a medication that I'm on for a disability that I have, that I suffered from since I was wee little. I'm prescribed this certain medication. Well, there's no way in the world that he would have known I was prescribed that medication. But it was, and plus, like I said, we had talked in December, and I remember him saying that about the pharmacy. So, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. So and it also said on that paper that my attorney had dismissed himself that day, December the 23rd. Yeah. Without telling me or saying anything to me. So anyways, I contacted multiple times. I contacted Rite Aid about this right from the very beginning. I contacted them. I told them what was going on. They had somebody call me back. They said, we'll look into it, call you back. His name was Adam. And he works for the privacy department there at Rite Aid, the headquarters. And he called me. It was a Sunday morning for some reason. Sunday morning he called me, and he was asking me questions about, what I just told you. And I said, well, I know for a fact I got my prescription filled there. I said, because around that time, that was the closest pharmacy. And again, they had taken my license, with the OVI charge. So I didn't have my license. I had to walk to my pharmacy. I was positive, very certain of where I got my prescription filled at that day. He insisted that I did not get it filled there that day, that I was, mistaken. So after I got off the phone with him, I called my doctor. Well, the next day I called my doctor's office on Monday, and I requested my ORS report. And I also asked my doctor's office, the head nurse, Angie was her name. I asked her if anybody had acquired or wanted my pharmacy information or anything like that. She said, no, they hadn't. And I said, okay, could I get a copy of my ORS report? So she gave it to me. And it's exactly what I'm saying, that I got it filled, dropped it off there. I got it filled there, paid for it there, everything. So then I contacted Rite Aid again. And this time, the second time around, I talked to a Michelle. She was in the office in the privacy department, I guess. And she said that they do not, because I was requesting my records from Rite Aid, basically what I called about, because I knew Adam had been lying. So what I did was after that, I looked into it, and Michelle told me, we can't do anything, can't release anything until we have this records request signed from you. And I said, okay. I said, well, how would they like to go about doing this? And she said, well, I'm going to email it to you. But she said, this is very important. She said, you cannot email it back to me. She said, it has to be sent in the mail. I said, okay. So I received it. I filled it out right then and there. And I even took a picture of it before I put it in the mailbox, because just a lot of weird stuff's been going on since this disclosure happened. I just wanted to, dot my I's, cross my T's, so to speak. So I took a picture of, excuse me, the record request, put it in the mailbox, and sent it. That was shortly after, I believe it's at the end of March. I believe it's when it was. Several months goes by. I thought they had like 30 days, but, it took them 4 months before they sent me anything. And that was after my attorney had wrote Rite Aid 2 more letters requesting it and saying, hey, listen, she's requested this clear back in March. You still haven't, sent it to her or nothing like that. So they're unwilling to do anything about it. They won't answer my calls. They won't do anything about it. And I'm confident that that's what happened. I mean, I know exactly that's what happened. But since then, I have had, because of this disclosure, you would not believe what this has cost me. I mean, not only my freedom, because I spent from October the 7th, 2021 until February the 13th of 2022 incarcerated over this. And while I was incarcerated, I'm sorry, this is hard for me to talk about. My cellmate hung herself. And then, another person died shortly after that, the same day that I witnessed both of them passing away. I've spent over $60,000 just in attorney fees alone in this disclosure. I had to get out of a 401k that was intended for my children's future that I had to use. I was taxed on that. Federal and state taxes was on that, $7,000. I had court fines and court costs of $7,000. They took my vehicle, the vehicle that the judge released to me. They made me forfeit the rights to it. The impounding yard wouldn't give me my vehicle when I took them the signed document from the judge stating to be released. Didn't have an attorney to go back to say, hey, listen, this is wrong. They're in contempt. So I got another attorney who basically did the same thing. He didn't do anything. He just extorted money from me, and that was about it. Never received my car back. They made me forfeit the rights to my vehicle. They gave me a 10-year license suspension. They gave me 2 years probation, and it has just been a nightmare. Then after that, I moved. I had to move. I didn't have to move, but it was just better if I did. So I moved out of state, and when I moved to the West Virginia where I live now currently, I started experiencing identity theft and fraud. This was sometime after the disclosure. It wasn't directly after it. It was a few months, but it was definitely from the disclosure. I had a restoration specialist that looked into my case for me, and she told me when my information was disclosed and when it was put out onto the dark web. It was December the 19th of 2019. I was indicted December the 12th of 2019. So anyways, after that, everything just started. I mean, next it was all my bank accounts. All my bank accounts had unauthorized transactions on them. I had 3 at the time. And 2 of those banks closed my account because of the fraud, because it was so much. I mean, it just kept going on and on and on and on and on. They kept saying, you're not responsible for this, but I was being penalized because of it. So finally, the last banking account I had, I still have a bank account with them. However, I'm not allowed to have a debit card with them. Now, prior to this, I don't owe anyone anything. Prior to this, my credit was excellent. I mean, you couldn't get a better credit score than what I had. Now it's fair. And I'm just now getting it back. It was poor. And none of it is because I owe anyone or anything like that. It's all because of this disclosure, Then it was my credit cards. Credit cards started experiencing the same thing. I actually had a credit card that was stolen out of my mailbox. They sent me one, and I didn't even realize they sent it to me because I never used it. Well, how I found out about it was because I received a bill for $350. And I'm like, what's the deal with this? I know I've never used this card. Somebody had taken it from my mailbox and charged it for $350. It just goes on and on and on. I mean, it was just basically all my accounts, everything. And I'm still today affected by it. And it still happens. I will have fraud on cards that I don't even receive yet. I don't have in my possession. And they already have fraud on them. From this disclosure is exactly what all this is from. So, yeah.
Wow.
And I can't get anyone to represent me or anyone to help me because who my pharmacy disclosed this to, he has me, I don't know the correct terminology for it, and I don't want to use a crude terminology. So he has it to where none of the other attorneys will represent me in any kind of, like a 100-mile radius. I've even tried out of state and they won't do it. So it's just, this is all caused by this disclosure, and they don't even want to admit to it, and I know for a fact it was. There's no other way around it, and plus the person that, received the information didn't know, I forgot to mention this, he didn't know that I was listening, and he didn't know I was in his office. He had him on speakerphone, and my attorney went like that to me and my driver that was sitting there, and we were both silent the whole time. So he had no idea I was in there in his office, in my attorney's office. Well, Michelle, when I sent that into Michelle, I didn't hear back from her for the longest time. So I talked to my attorney. My attorney said, well, they got 30 days, So he wrote a couple letters and still no response. So I called and asked for Michelle. Michelle had been fired. Michelle was no longer an employee there. So then I called and asked for the privacy department, or asked for their privacy department. And then I spoke with I have her name written down. It's a Kaylee or something like that. And I requested accounting for disclosure, basically who's been in my records. Okay, who's been in my records. I received an email back like within 3 minutes that said they reviewed my records and nobody has been in my records. And, at this point, I don't know what else to do. I even had an attorney write letters, and, they ended up sending me my records, but it was 4 months later, and my records was exactly what the ORS report stated, and exactly what Rite Aid was saying the exact same thing. Adam had lied to me because it did, when I got my records back from when they did finally send them to me, it did state that I did get my medication filled there that day, and it was that medicine. So that was all that was. That's all. They won't contact me. They won't have anything, and I'm one person. I don't have a law degree. I don't know the first thing about taking a corporation on in court. I really don't. However, I do know, like I said, and I'm confident 100%, or I wouldn't even be sitting here right now saying this, that they disclosed my information. So they don't want to respond to me. They won't reply. I just want them to admit that, it was disclosed and refund me my money, everything that I've lost. I'm not going to get a lot of that stuff back. There's trauma and stuff that I'm just, you can't unsee something, once you see it, you see it. So that's going to be something I'm going to have to deal with, and I do deal with it every night when I try to sleep. But however, just my losses, that's all I'm asking, and they don't even want to, they won't even contact me back. So basically that's just all I'm asking. A lot's been done and a lot's happened. And to be completely honest with you, I just want to forget about this. But they won't let me. When I say they won't let me, this is what I mean by that. I've tried to get a job. I've tried to better myself. I've tried to do things since this all happened. And what they have done is, and they have all these dismissed charges that are on my record that have been dismissed. The court advocate doesn't even understand why they're even on my record. But anyways, until they just get it sponged and dropped off my record, I can't even get a job, and I can't get to a job if I don't have a car, and I can't get a job if I don't have a car. If I can't, what I'm saying? What am I trying to say? Okay, I can't get a car if I don't have a job, and I can't get a job if I don't have a car. Is what I was trying to say. So I'm just stuck. All I would like for Rite Aid to do is just to, help me out with the bills that I acquired because of this disclosure. I know what this has done to my life. And I don't wish this upon anyone. I really don't. It's been really tough. And if I can prevent this from happening to anyone, just to listen to my story, then it's been worth it for me to, talk about. I just don't, it's not fun. And I'm telling you what, when people, when your information is disclosed like that and it's put out on the dark web, I don't know who the hackers that are doing it or whatever. They have no mercy. They will use your information for anything and everything they can get their information on. I've had all kinds of problems with the IRS. and I never didn't even owe them any money, and I'm like, why am I getting letters sent to me in Spanish? I have 7 letters to me that was sent in Spanish because somebody has my social security number and using it, so I had to fix that all with the IRS. You know how long that took? I mean, like over 17 months just to fix all this, thank God I didn't have any problems with anybody. Not yet, knock on wood. I mean, this is something I'm gonna have to monitor for the rest of my life. I mean, once they have your information, they have it. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't take it back from them. They have it. I called the Social Security Department. They informed me that you can get another Social Security number. However, they still always go by your first Social Security number. Okay. So you'll have 2 Social Security numbers. Okay. I'm thinking that's going to be a pain in the butt to even do. And second of all, what's that going to help me out any if my number that everybody's using is still using it, if it's still good, So I ended up, just dead end there, basically is what I'm saying. That was a dead end. I've tried every avenue. I don't know where else to go from here. I don't know what else to try. But I just, it's just very important that we implement and, some kind of privacy rights and some kind of, for Ohio and West Virginia, because, it's just, nobody knows until they go through it, how horrible it is and what all can happen because of it. I mean, they've got my driver's license. I've had 5 data breaches because of this. 5. I've had, and 3 of them was from my psychiatrist's office. So complete strangers know things about me when I was 5 years old. You know what? I mean, that's not very comforting, and it's just something people don't really think about until it happens to them. I didn't think about it. I mean, I didn't really think about the severity of it until it started happening. And I was like, oh, wow. And I just got another letter last Friday, another data breach, Marietta Memorial Hospital, and all my medical records are there, So it's just been, the only thing, the best advice I can give is just make sure that you know what you're signing when you sign it. I mean, I didn't sign anything that, to my knowledge, and I believe I did not, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying, make sure you know what you're signing and make sure you know when you're signing that, what exactly can happen, because the government can get your information. There's covered entities that are allowed to receive your information and they can disclose it to other people. They're allowed to by law, So just be smart about it and just know, if the government can come in and do that, then, maybe sign something stating that you want stricter privacy rights or as far as your disclosure is concerned. I mean, because whenever you go to the doctor, anytime you go there, you're signing papers basically stating, that privacy papers, that's what it is. That's basically giving them the okay to do, what they want to with it.